Hey, Aurora. Hey, Larry. This is the late night edition. I forgot I had to go get dog food, so I had to run out before they closed. Hey, Carmel. You're not gonna let it go, are you? Says no, Zelda. You can't have it. Don't push it under the door. Ow! That was my hand. That wasn't the mouse. Hey, D Hutch. I know you can catch it. What? Well, don't just drop it. Somebody bring it back over here. You were doing good the other day, Hank. Lily and Stumpy, I didn't even have to train them to fetch. They just started doing it one day. Hasn't come so easy with these guys. Right, Zelda? And Stella's out. Stella. Well, you brought it back over here, didn't you, Wilson? You understand the point. You want this one instead? What if we throw it in the hole there? Oh, I missed it. Hey, Lynette. I've only got one left over here, Hank. You guys gotta bring another one. What you doing, Stella? Come here. Bath time again. Alright, this is the last one I can throw until I see where the other ones are. Trying to get it in the little house up there. I can never quite quite make it, which is terrible. We'll see. Come here. Why don't you have a seat right there? Nope. Yeah, he loves those mice. The first ones we gave him, he always growled whenever the others came around him and he had one. You gonna go find one, Zelda? Yeah, you're quick to go get them and then slow to bring them back. Come here, Stella. You can do better than that. He just dives in head first for it. Yeah, I think we need to get a new soccer ball out for Stella, speaking of. These other ones are starting to look a little tired. Why are you going over there and messing with her, or messing with him? He didn't do anything. Stella. Well, it crossed her mind, but she said no. Oh, there she goes. Yeah, we'll have to bring the old iPad in here. Are they getting too close to your soccer ball, Stella? Well, she halfway played for about a second. Into the house. That one's not as cool, huh? Here's another one over here. Look at you, Hank. You did bring it back. Very good. Hank says it's mine. He got it too. I don't know if my camera work is very good when I'm trying to throw things. There you go. Good catch. Now she's got to run away with it. Another good catch. The wall with the assist. Hang on, let me back up. She's jumping halfway up the wall. Parkour. Hey, Dawn. Am I ignoring you, Hank? I don't know where the other mice are right now. I think I see a couple. Are you coming over here to steal it now? Hey, Mr. Krabs. Oh, nothing much. Same old, same old. Just gonna start up here. Nope. Ain't got it. What are you staring at? You mean where is Stella? She's up there in the window. I was off today. I'm typically not. I don't know why I was today, but they sent around an email that said the office would be closed today, so I did have the day off. I went and did some scouting for places to metal detect about 45 minutes south of here. 45 minutes or an hour or something like that, and didn't really find a whole lot. I went out to an old park for an hour or so and pulled a couple of modern coins, but nothing great. I gotta find somewhere to go tomorrow though. Actually spend some time doing it instead of just looking around. The oldest item is probably, hey Connie, a Civil War Confederate officers button, which was, I think, pre-war. We estimate it's probably 1850s, something like that. I just kind of wing it as far as locations. I mean, the hardest part about this is I've gotten started doing it years and years after metal detectors have become kind of a common thing, and most of the really good spots that are obvious, people have already beaten me to them years ago. So now I have to research a lot harder than you used to, or find private property where people will let you detect on in their yards and stuff like that. Hey Stella. Hey Stella. Connie, she came down just for you. Not really. I've kind of been in a slump. I had a really good month in January. I just scouted a little bit today, and I went to a park in Troy, Alabama, just to test the waters a little bit. I didn't stay out there long, and then I came home. I'm going to go out tomorrow somewhere. Not really sure where yet. Well, as it gets warmer, we'll probably, well, two things. One, I'm going to get I've got a magnet that's like 100-pound pull or something like that. I need one a little bigger. And maybe start walking the creeks and see what's in the creeks. Second part is I need some waterproof headphones for my detector and a sand scoop, and then start hitting the swimming holes. You don't typically pull anything old out of the swimming holes in the creek, or not the creeks, but the lakes and stuff like that. But you can pull out good jewelry. But I gotta invest a little more money to be water capable. My machine is waterproof as is, but my headphones and stuff are not. And you really need like a big sand scoop on a long pole to do it, unless you plan on just diving in the water head first and digging it out by hand. And I'd prefer not to do that. I've always been reluctant to get into lakes and rivers and stuff like that to begin with. I just never did that much as a kid, so I'm scared of snakes and snapping turtles and all that kind of stuff. Typically with the sand or the scoop, you can just kind of scoop it out and then sift through it with your hand. I have seen people build like a sifter for land and stuff when they're digging up historical grounds, and just dig up a big chunk of dirt and sift it. But the sand scoop, I mean, it's just like a metal bucket with tiny holes in it, so all the dirt falls out and all you're left with are rocks and whatever metal object you've dug up. Yeah, Connie, that's kind of everywhere, but there are still places out there, I promise. I think the best places nowadays are people's houses. If you know people. As far as I know, if it's a public lake. But yeah, older homes that have people living in them that you might know, or that you have a friend of a friend that knows, or something like that, that's definitely the way to go. My best day was probably at my boss's house, which the house that sits there now was built in, I think, the 30s. But there were houses. Conversely, I got permission to detect at a house probably 20 minutes from here, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most. It was built in 1925, and it was, I mean, it's on 5 acres of land. There's an empty lot next to it where a house used to be, and I'm almost certain that somebody has already detected that house, because I found one penny in the empty lot, which was modern, and all around the house that's still there, only modern coins, no wheat pennies. And you know, wheat pennies are typically a good sign when you're looking for something that hasn't been detected heavily. If you don't find a wheat penny in your first 30-45 minutes of being there, odds are it's been detected, or there's just nothing there. I've hit up my coworkers for places. You know, a lot of my coworkers live in older parts of town. I've gone to 3 houses of coworkers that live in older parts of Montgomery. One I've yet to finish because the dirt, if you want to call it dirt, it was just once you dug 3 or 4 inches in the ground, it was just mud. And I mean, this is on a dry day, and it would just stick to the shovel, and it was miserable. Um, Aside from that, the one I was talking about, fairly close to here, that didn't really pan out, couldn't find anything. I had just kind of driven around scouting places, and I saw the house, and there was a for sale sign in the front yard. So I looked it up, and I looked up the owners, and I just mailed a letter over there saying, "Hey, here's my name. I like to metal detect, blah blah blah." I found an online template basically seeking permission. I just dropped it in the mail, and 3 or 4 days later, the lady called me and said, "Yeah, come on, whatever you want." So hopefully that'll work again. I haven't sent any more letters out, but I'm batting 1,000 there. I've only done it once, and it worked. Stella, you want a new soccer ball, Stella? I think it's time to get you one. No, just modern stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's 5 acres. I did not comb every square inch of it, but like I was saying, typically if with an old house like that, if you walk around the house for 30 minutes or less, you should at least find a wheat penny, and I did not. I found nothing old. Want a new soccer ball? Ain't gotten that out in a while. We'll mess with that for a second. Stella. So the mission continues tomorrow. There's an old park in Montgomery. One of the club members frequents, and it seems like every month he comes in with 3 or 4 things that he's pulled out of there. Silver, and I think he got a buffalo nickel out of there in the last month. Now, I don't know how long it took him to get all that stuff, but he goes out there quite a bit and says he typically always finds something. Yeah, see, we just don't have that kind of history here in Alabama. I mean, there's stuff in the 1800s, but I don't lag on me now. State parks, you have to get permission. Sorry for the lag, you guys. I don't know what's going on now. Um, State parks, I think you can metal detect, um, but you probably need to get permission from game ward or something like that to do it. Certain state property is just off limits. Like, I would love to go out to the state capitol. There's no telling what is under that ground out there, but I don't think they'd let me do it. Federal land, typically off limits with a few exceptions. You can get a permit to water detect, or so I've been told from somebody that does it all the time. They don't cost anything. You just have to have a permit to do it, to get in the water and the swimming holes and stuff. But typically federal land is off limits. We'll give Zelda some of it. But as far as city parks, I think it just depends on local ordinance or state law. You know, city parks here, no problems. Schools here, no problem. I've never had any issue at a park or a school. And I'm not going to say that hunting city parks are a waste of time because, I mean, people lose jewelry and stuff like that, and you can stumble on it. But typically, the city parks got raked over pretty heavily long before now, and all you're going to find is modern stuff, usually pennies, in my experience. But there's a couple of parks around here that are kind of in Montgomery that are tucked away that not a lot of people go to. The one I was telling you about before that one of the club members goes to, it's in kind of a sketchy part of town. Never had any problems out there. I've been out there twice, I think. Once or twice. Never had an issue. It is. I mean, not knowing what you're going to find is part of the thrill of it. But honestly, when it gets really hot outside, you want to be in a spot where there's good potential, at least in my experience. And that's where I think being in the water would help. It would definitely be cooler in the water than standing in a field somewhere when it's 97 degrees. Yeah, and they're fun to find. But you got to take the good with the bad, I guess. Can't always have a great day doing it. Same with deer hunting or whatever, fishing, any other hobby. Some days are better than others, but I got to be due for a good day because I've just been skunked lately. Now I went out last Sunday with another member of the club. He had one spot in mind to go, and we kind of went and checked it out for a few minutes and weren't really finding anything. So I told him about a couple of houses, old houses that had burned down in the last couple of weeks, and the city had knocked them down. So we went over there, and no sooner than we did, he pulled out a 1902 Barber half dollar. I'm like, why did I even open my mouth and tell you we could go over here? Because I didn't find much of anything. I found a little silver star, like almost like a toy badge for a kid or something. I mean, it was pretty old. It was a neat thing to find, but I much would have had that 1902 Barber half. Ow, Wilson, or Hank, I mean, that was my hand. Are you gonna let it go? Being a goof, he just clawed my hand trying to get to this. I was trying to get the stick, and he's like, nope, it's mine. I generally can too, but again, depending on temperature. If it's 90 something degrees and humid, no. When you're catching stuff, kind of makes you forget about the heat. Same with metal detecting. If you're finding stuff, don't mind it. Yeah, I used to see people doing that, and I haven't heard much about it lately. Stella. I was trying to get it to stay up there, and it's not going to. There we go. See what you did to me, Hank? Pricked my finger with that claw. We gotta do some nail trimming for these guys. They are overdue. Hey, give me that back. Give me that back. Oh, Stella's got the ball. gonna play with it, Stella? She's interested in it. If Hank will give her a second to check it out. Come here. Hey, give me that. Give me this. Hank says no. She doesn't get to play with that. Stella seems sort of interested in this thing, but she doesn't want to get in the path of Hank. And you're waiting patiently for your turn, huh, Zelda? The wheels are turning. I'm still considering it. I have not come to a final decision yet. Speaking of, I was picking up dog food earlier. One of the other girls that was getting some help through the rescue, through Paws, I saw her at PetSmart and I asked her if she'd had any luck getting any more of hers adopted. And she's like, no, I hadn't even been trying. So I think she has 6 or 7 at her house. There was a litter of 9, and I want to say she's gotten 3 adopted, but yeah, that's my dilemma. It's kind of that whole parent thing, leaving your kids at school for the first day or something. Probably not exactly the same, but yeah, Maggie did get adopted. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Assuming they didn't get adopted pretty quickly, was bring them back. My only fear about doing that is leaving them there a few days and then bringing them back with her. I don't know what she's gonna do. She's playing with her ball right now, though. Well, that didn't work very well, did it, Stella? I would just hate to take them over there, leave them for a few days, and then they get acclimated to being there, and then bring them back, and then they have to get acclimated to this place, and then carry them back to PetSmart and do it all over again. I mean, it might be good for them in the long run, just to get them used to different environments, but I don't know. They're like my kids. I don't want to torment them. Glad she's finally unwinding a little bit. Don't typically see her do this. I know she does it when we're not in here, but usually she's very reserved when I'm in here. But I don't know how Stella would react. Yeah, And I mean, this guy has been a couple times. He is very anxious about it. Zelda, she doesn't enjoy it, but she does better than the others. Haven't tried this guy in quite a while. Where are you taking that, Wilson? I don't know how Hank would react. Go for it, Stella. I don't have another one to toss over there to you. I gave you two. She knows where it is. But yeah, decisions. Yeah, and the thing that kills me the most, you guys don't chew on the stick. Give me this. Is a lot of the cats up there, they just, I don't know how they develop the personality they have, because they're just so carefree, and they love everybody, and they don't seem fazed by the environment, and that's just not how these guys are. Like Chester, I mean, he's been there a while, unfortunately, but I mean, he's just totally chilled out, doesn't mind being there at all, still loves people and attention, and doesn't mind the other cats. But that's not these guys. Yeah, and I mean, I don't mean to say that as in a way that means they're not sweet or anything, because they are. They're just very timid for whatever reason. I don't know why they're that way, with the exception of Zelda. Zelda's not very timid. She's got as close to the Lionel personality as any of them, except for Percy. You know, Percy was goofier than Lionel, but he was definitely carefree about anything. Yeah. And if I do it, it's just going to have to be one of those things where we say, going into it, we're going to try this for a couple of days and see how they do. And if they're not going to show well there, then I guess we bring them back. But I have to convince myself that they're going to be scared for a little bit, and there's not much I can do about it. But they're going to have to adjust, and hopefully they can. Me too. I'm definitely not thrilled by the idea. But maybe we can work it out where we could put them in the bottom cages. The bottom row of cages are bigger. It's basically two cages in one, so maybe we could put two of them in there together in a big cage, and it wouldn't be as bad. And honestly, those other cages are probably too small for two of these guys at once, and I would prefer them to be together. about you? Huh? Well, they won't be there forever. At the most, I would probably do it a week at a time and then give them a break. And like poor Chester has been there for, gosh, I don't know, a couple months. Just the sweetest cat, and he's stuck there. But he doesn't act offended or upset about it. He lets you know he wants to get out and socialize when you come in the room, but he doesn't sit in his cage and cry and carry on or anything. But like I've said before, the dilemma is that we can take them to the adoption events, but they're not used to being there, so they're terrified and they try to hide under their bed and all that. I don't know Chester's full history. I know he came from another rescue group. That's all I know about him. And I know that if I didn't have a house full of cats, he would already be here right now. But I'm thinking I might take a little video of him one day next week and put him on the Facebook page and beg and plead for somebody to come adopt him, because he's such a sweet cat. Hank, you're a goof. But poor Wilson, he gets spooked by noises here sometimes and runs and hides in his little tunnel over there. He finally gave you a turn, huh, Zelda? Gosh, we just hit the 45-minute mark. I guess I should wind down. I've got some clothes in the dryer that I still have to get out as I drop my phone. I didn't realize we had been going this long. I've been running my mouth. So, I plan to do this again tomorrow. Depends on what kind of day I have and how tired I am when I get home. But as of right now, I definitely plan to do it again tomorrow. What are you trying to do? Is that what you want? Well, thank you, Connie. I appreciate it, everybody. As I say, I plan to do this tomorrow, but no guarantees on what time yet. So just keep an eye out, and hope to see you guys all again tomorrow. I hate to shut it off while he's doing this, but all right, thank you, everybody. Hope you all have a good night, and hopefully see you tomorrow.